welcome back. This is Sherry with Heart and Soulful. I am back in the studio today after being gone for several weeks. And before I get back into whatever I was working on when I left, I wanted to do a video today showing you what I have been working on for the last few weeks. So welcome to my channel if you're just joining me for the very first time. I hope you enjoy this video. It's a little different than anything I have done. I have moved my studio as far as the jewelry part of it out of state. And so we're kind of, I think, going to become snowbirds. And this is our first really year of going back and forth. So you'll see my videos have been a little sporadic, and I'm hoping to get a setup there as well so that I can record and kind of do what I'm able to do in this studio. But it's hard to, if you do any of the junk journaling and art journal making and all that sort of thing, you know how much stuff you have. You really can't have it both places always, or it's going to at least take me time to get a little here and a little there. So in the meantime, I went ahead and moved all of my jewelry over, and I'm now working on getting my website where I sold my jewelry before and moving items into my Etsy shop. That way everything's together. I started the YouTube channel during COVID, so I think this summer might be 4 years, something like that. I've lost track, but I started that when I kind of put the jewelry aside. And so like I said, I haven't done very many jewelry videos, just a couple, but I may incorporate that more and more into my channel. So I'm sure that a lot of you who subscribe for different reasons. Some might be gel printing, some might be the journal making and that kind of thing, vintage books and that sort of deal. I also, on my Etsy shop, have all my digitals and when I do paper packs and that kind of thing. So you're going to see a variety of things in my shop, but it just puts it all in one place. That way, if you did start watching me for one thing, you'll see kind of some of the other things that I do. So I hope you enjoy this. It is a little different, like I said. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell. You'll get a notification when I do post something new. So today I want to kind of show you what I've been working on. And for those of you who used to follow me on my Facebook page and Instagram, back when I was really working on just jewelry, you'll see some familiarity in my style, because a lot of this I'm picking up where I left off a few years ago, and just kind of working with finishing up some things that I had started. And I still have kind of the same jewelry style. I'm always, of course, adding new things because I always like learning new things. So I'm hopefully going forward, I'll be incorporating some new designs that you haven't seen before. So I'm going to kind of just share with you the different types of things. I don't know how much I'll get through today, so I may do some follow-up jewelry videos down the line as I start adding more things to the shop and as I start finishing more things. But today I think I'm going to at least start with what I work with as far as metals and how the different types that I work with. So one thing that I like to do is working with just different gauges of wire and how you can, hammer those and manipulate those to create some jewelry designs. So I work mainly with solid metals, not really base metals. So I use solid bronze, which is when it's shiny to a high polish, it's really kind of a gold color. And then it will patina over time like everything does. These are pretty well polished, and so you can see how gold they look at this point. And then over time, they will tarnish if you don't kind of have them stored with like these little tarnish strips, anti-tarnish strips. I store them in these little bags before I sell them so that hopefully I don't have to do too much polishing before they go out. And some people like them as they age. And for the bronze, I have this necklace that has not been polished in a long time, so you can kind of get an idea. But it goes from the shiny gold to more of this kind of a vintage bronze looking color. So it's nice as they patina over time. They're still really pretty. They're just maybe not as sparkly. So that's the bronze. And then I also work in solid copper. These are some copper lasso earrings, and they're polished at this point. I'm going to see if I have something. These are copper, and they're a twisted pattern, And so you can see, though, they have patina a little bit more. Let me take it out of this and see if you can kind of get an idea. They'll darken up, and against the white you can kind of tell. So this is the copper after it's kind of patinaed. So these will darken up quite a bit over time. You can tell that this one is really shiny because I just polished it, and these have started to patina a little bit. So maybe if I put these side by side, you can kind of get an idea. This has more of that rose gold look when you polish copper, very shiny. And then if you can tell how much warmer that color is, this one versus this one. These are the same metals. This is just patina more than this one. So just be aware of that. And what I like to use to keep my things polished are these sunshine polishing cloths. Now I've just cut one down to a smaller size and it's getting quite dirty, but you still use it even after it's getting black. It still works. It has the polishing compound in it and it feels kind of like a flannel fabric, but this will not give you scratches in your jewelry. You'll just be able to polish and keep the tarnish off of it. So that way it can stay nice and shiny if you like it that way. So I'll put a link to these where you can purchase them on Amazon. And then let's see. So copper, bronze, and then sterling silver. So the sterling silver, I have these out already. These are also the lasso hoops. And so sterling silver, shiny polish. So those are some different wire metal designs, the lasso hoops. Again, I usually have several pair available that I put online without any kind of dangly things. You have the ability to add beads to these. So I kind of, when I first make them, leave them plain and offer them this way because you can wear them with anything then. But then I also like to coordinate them with, say I've made a necklace and I want a pair of earrings. I then may add a little dangly bead. These are, I believe this is quartz on copper. And that way they may coordinate with a necklace. I think in this case, the necklace sold and the earrings didn't. So then I have them and I can always swap this out for another bead. It's not a huge deal. These again are with turquoise. And I like to also combine metals. That way they can go with, you can wear something that has silver on it as well as copper. So you'll find full descriptions, size and all that in the description in the Etsy listing. Everything I'm showing you here is already in the shop. So the lasso hoop is what I call this sort of design, and those are hammered. So they have a little kind of detail to them that's handmade looking. And then I like to also use them for necklaces. So this one doesn't have that extra loop inside, but you can hang little dangly things and charms from the bottom. So in this case, I have some pewter charms, a couple of hearts and a feather, and then some faceted teardrop beads, and then just lots of different turquoise and brass beads and silver beads. I don't, like I said, work in base metal too much. From time to time, there might be something in there, but I really try to work with semi-precious stones, occasionally some check glass beads, and very rarely, but sometimes some Swarovski crystals. So for a little sparkly thing. And I think I have one necklace here that I can show you that is a little bit more sparkly today. So when you see these, they're usually either Thai silver in this case, or sometimes there might be white brass. I'll usually put in the description what is in there, but for the most part, they're actually real stone beads. And then the wire, I use the same kind of wire, just a smaller gauge to do the links. And those are all wrapped, so they're not going to come apart. And then some chain in this one, and just a variety. And I try to make them really colorful, for one, because that's how I like my jewelry, to kind of have just lots of different stones. And that way they are more versatile and kind of, I can wear them with everything. So this is a longer one. I usually use some kind of clasp, but this one has a lobster clasp. A lot of times I will use leather. Sometimes that makes them adjustable, and I'll usually say if I've done that. Sometimes I do them at the top. I'll see if I have an example of one that would be adjustable at the back. So that one, and just for an idea, the price on this is $95 for the longer chain. And then let's see, so that's a lasso one, and I've shown you the earrings. The other thing that I like to do with metal, besides, you know, making different kinds of hoops and different styles, is to use them for making bails and closures. And so in this case, I've made, using just a sterling silver wire, I've made this bail, and it's using twisting the wire. So it's not from twisted wire. I took wire and twisted them together and created this bail. And it's been antiqued, so it has, you can see that it's darker in the twists, and that's because I've done that on purpose. And then the closure is just a little hook and eye sort of closure. And this was done on leather. So I can do these any length, but again, the length will be in the description. You can find it there. And then this is a blue jade bead that's just kind of flat, but I just really like it. So I'll take some sort of focal bead and then maybe wire wrap. Any of the charms or pendants I made can be put on a bell like this. So this was just kind of one design for a necklace. This one I'm showing you today is in sterling silver. I do have them in copper as well with different stones. I just don't have them online yet, so I'll be showing those at a future time. And this one is $34 on the leather. And then the other thing that I like to do, again with the wire, well, let me show you the bracelets, these couple of bracelets first, and then I'll move into this because it's going to kind of transition. Also, when I did this twist style necklace, that I went ahead and I try to make some earrings that will go with. So these are different stones, but they were a color that I thought looked really nice with the blue jade. And so it's, I think, angelite and aquamarine in those beads. And then again, I just did the hoops with the twist. So these are fun, you know, to just do some up. And then I can always have blanks that I can sell just as a hoop, or add whatever color I need to go with a necklace that I've made. So that, and again, I showed you, I think, this copper one with the turquoise. So I think the necklace to this one has sold, but I may have other ones. I try to, when I do some things that coordinate, I try to, in the description, at least give you the item number and a picture of the thing that I've made to coordinate. And sometimes it will have sold already, but at least you kind of see that there is something that I have made to go with. Okay, so the other thing are bracelets. I love making bracelets, and I do several different styles of bracelets, but one of my favorites are what I call these freestyle bracelets. This one is a triple wrap bracelet, and the metal part that I've made on this one is the tag. And so I get silver. It's solid sterling silver. It's not silver plated, but it's the bar is the form I get it in, and then hammer it and file it and stamp something in it. In this case, I stamped the word grateful using the 8. And again, on this one, I also make the clasps, the hook, and so those are all kind of that organic handmade look. And then in this case, I even made this little charm, and I'll show you that's a different procedure. But I like doing, I call these freestyle because they're little sections of just different little parts and pieces. And so I just like mixing it up. I like mixing metal. These are some African beads. Some of the African beads, they paint them silver. So then when they wear off, these were already copper, they'll wear off and there'll be some kind of copper, usually thin copper metal underneath. So this one was done, I believe, with bronze links. But then I also used some different Thai silver beads and just different things in different leathers. So that's a lot of fun, but that's a triple wrap. So this one is $72 for the triple wrap bracelet. And then I did a simpler single wrap, and sometimes I'll do double wrap. So this one again is just another one with the word grateful on that silver. And then this was done with just some brass and Thai silver beads. They're really cute. They have a little flower stamped on them. So that one is, I don't know the size, but it is in the description, and this one's $40. Okay, and then these are just large stones that have a hole drilled, and then I'll do some sort of, this is a really simple wire wrap just to be able to hold the stone, and this one was done in copper with a copper chain, some copper beads. This one's African opal slab, and another name for this is Terra Jasper. You'll see me list it as African opal. And then the same with the beads. And they come in kind of a variety of colors, anything from grays and blues and the tans, and then the kind of red rock looking colors, copper, that sort of thing. So this one was with wire. And then I've done 2 more with a totally different technique. I call this my soft solder technique. And this, you start with wire, either copper or sterling silver. If I'm gonna use a copper patina on them, I use copper wire in case the wire ends up showing through once I buff it up. And so this one was done with a copper patina, so it's copper wire underneath. And then you see some silver, and that's just where the patina it took, and then I polished it back off. So parts are copper looking and parts have this kind of pewter look, but I just love the organic look of this. So really you're working with liquid metal because it's hot and in a liquid form, and you're kind of dragging it around and adding it to your armature that's made out of wire. So there's always then a front and a back, which is kind of fun. And this one I've just done on a copper chain, on a snake chain. I sometimes, if I do pendants, and maybe I in the future I want to do a beaded chain, but those take a long time to work on. So I'll usually do, like maybe a beaded chain and then something just in a plain chain, because some people they don't want all the beads and they want just something simple. So I maybe start out that way, and then over time, if it hasn't sold, I'll end up taking that and adding beads to it as I have time. So it just depends. But those 2, and then this again is the same thing, soft solder. And each design is different because they're all just handmade, and you kind of do with the metal and wire and the stone, kind of what happens. And so you just, it's just manipulating this liquid metal on wire. And then same thing, this one's done in the African opal beads, and just different shapes of the same type of stone, and then some copper beads, and then all done on copper wire links. So just a little variety. And then another thing are some smaller pendants. These are also done with soft solder. These 3 are all mookaite. I'm not sure I'm saying it correctly, but it's a type of jasper that's only found in Australia. And it comes in different colors, so this is all the same type of stone, but it's a faceted teardrop shape. So this one is more of a chocolate brown, and then this one has some tans and kind of dark mustard color or caramel, light caramel, and some more like a deep red color to it. And then this one is a very creamy white. So those I've also wire wrapped the tops and then capped them using the soft solder. These I've left with the silver with just a dark patina, and so they're polished up. And maybe if I put them on white, you can kind of see them a little bit better. But those are fun to do, just a fun way to make a nice, simple little pendant. And I will probably be doing some of these just on silver chains also. And I'll show you what type of chains on the next little grouping here that I use for these. Because the patina that I put on this, it's either a dark patina or a copper patina. And so you end up with that little antique-y look to it, with a little, darker in the crevices. So I use a different type of chain than just a shiny sterling silver chain. This one is done with sterling silver links, again with just different semi-precious stone beads, a whole variety. I won't go into all of them, but oftentimes in the description I'll list all the beads for you. But just, a nice variety, and make it really colorful so that it can go with everything. And this one is $45. Prices really are based on what metal I've used and what beads I've used, because some are just more expensive than others. This one is again capped with the soft solder and then a little bit of sterling silver chain that's been oxidized. and then just a variety of beads that kind of coordinated with that pendant. And this one is 60. And again, you'll find the length of the chain in the description. If I'm where I have tools and the right things I need, I can maybe adjust the size for you. I'm happy to do that if I'm where I can do that. Because of traveling, I'm not always able to do it right away. But it's always fine to ask, and then I'll let you know. And then this was the creamy one. And again, just a variety, again, of natural stone. I don't know what's easier for you to see these against the white. And this one is 54. And again, just a nice rainbow of colors so that it can go with everything. Then these may be the last two I have of this. I don't remember. I'll have to dig around in my stash and see if I have any more in the studio. I don't have them here to check, but I had called this the Tahoe collection, and I had done some bracelets. I may still have some already made up, ready to be bracelets, or a necklace with a dangle, because I put the bail on both ends so that I could make them into bracelets. So I had done a few of those, but I have these two left, and these are kyanite, and there's just a really pretty color. I had called them my Tahoe collection because they just remind me of that really pretty blue of Lake Tahoe. And I did kind of a wave design, again with a soft solder. So because these have the antiquing where you can kind of see the little dark bits on them, they just have that really nice organic look. I use an oxidized sterling silver box chain, and these are 18 inches. So they have a little lobster clasp, but they're all the same chain. And I get these chains from a vendor. They are made in Italy, but they're just really nice chains. And then you can always swap out the pendant with a different pendant, and use the same chain. So this one is 48, and same price on this one. But just a little bit, like I said, every design is different. So it's like the little wave of bubbles on it, and that's the back side. So again, just on the sterling silver box chain. And then let's see. So I have those, and I also have done some little, I have like 5 or 6 of these. I bought a bunch of some teardrop shapes like this. Like I have more of these in different colors. So I'll be over time, and they just, they all just take time to make. But this is rose quartz, and I have quite a few of these. And I think I have some just clear quartz that might be faceted. I don't have them here. Well, maybe I do. I'll look. But this is rose quartz. It looks pretty light as far as the pink. If you've seen rose quartz, it has a pink undertone. So that's kind of what that looks like. And they're all capped. They're all a little bit different, but I do have these in the shop. And so you'll see them in the photos with a number next to them. So you can request that particular number until they've sold. So they'll all probably stay listed together, but as they sell, they won't, all be available. These are 24. And again, they're on a sterling silver chain, box chain. Again, the oxidized one, so it's shiny, but it's not as, I think if I compare it to another silver chain, let's see. I'll show you this, because this is the other thing that I do with the other type of jewelry, another thing that I do besides the soft solder, pendants and that sort of thing. And this is going to be tangled. This is a little one. I think I need to get a different chain. I put it in here and tangled it already. This one is actually a curb chain. And I think this was a test to order this one. Not all chains come in all lengths. So I try to get adjustable ones. And that way it's more versatile for anybody, depending on what you're wearing, you can adjust the length of it. Maybe you have a shorter neckline one day and a deeper neckline the next day. So the other thing that I do I make little open heart pendants, I call them. And I make the bezels, and they're double-sided, is why I call them open heart. And so sometimes, depending on what I put inside, there's a front and a back, but sometimes they're really very reversible because you can't tell which is the front and which is the back. Now this one, the lighting is really bad, so let me see if I can get this so that you can kind of see the color of it a little bit better. It's turquoise. I don't think it's going to come in clear. It's turquoise, but it's the very, oh, there you go. It's the very green and brown turquoise. So there is some kind of, I'm trying to get it under this lamp here. Let's see. It's very green. There you go. It's very green, and there is some aqua color in there that you can kind of see in here. This to me looks more like the front. The chips are bigger, and it's a little more rounded on the top. And then the back side, they kind of settle, so the chips are a little bit smaller. So this is just crushed turquoise, and I'll do different designs and things. I'll show you a couple that I've done, but they're set in resin. So this one is probably the smallest heart I've done. You can see it's in my hand here. It's just a little tiny thing. I think this one's like 3/4 inch size, and it'll tell you in the description in the Etsy store. But this one is a curved chain. Like I said, I don't use this chain. It's a little finer than I like, and you'll see the other one that I have. But I like them, like I said, because they're adjustable. So I buy the ones with the little heart on the end, but they're all sterling silver, again, made in Italy. And you just pull the heart through this ball, and the ball has tension on it. So it'll just stay at whatever length you want to make it. So you can go to choker size, and then this would just hang down the back. So it's just really a pretty little chain, again, with a lobster clasp. And you can reuse these and put different pendants on it. But so the open heart pendants, I've made quite a few of those over the years. So let's see what I have. To 20 inches. Okay, so this one is, again, the same thing where there's this little ball and the little heart. You pull on the heart. If you pull on this, you'll end up breaking it, so don't do that. You want to pull on the heart through the ball, and then you can adjust it. And it has tension, so it'll stay where you put it. But I like this chain. It's a little bit more substantial. It's a box chain, and these are polished. So they'll tarnish just like anything, but versus the box chain that is oxidized, and those don't come in an adjustable chain. These only come in different lengths, but you can kind of see the difference that this one is oxidized, this one is not. So this one has the dark in between. Now I have oxidized chains, manually oxidize them, this chain. So this one is turquoise again, in a really pretty, what I think of turquoise color. And again, it's the open heart, so same on front and back. So I have that one. You can see the size different if you see down here. Maybe get in focus. The size difference of those hearts. I do some hearts in soft solder, but I don't have any to show you today, but that will be a fun thing that I'll add. Here's another one, another design. This one's a little larger than both of these. And this one, I take a mica. That's why it's kind of a different color in there. Let me put it on the white paper so you can see it. And you can kind of see the sparkle of mica, the mica in there. So it's a layer of mica and then the turquoise heart arranged on top of that. So again, you kind of see through it. I just like these. They just remind me of stones in water. I just think they look like, you know, looking through water. And then what else do I have? Here's another one. Let's see. Here's another. This is another one that's just simple. I'll do some of these very simple where I just put the stones in there. And these are, you know, crushed stones, so I can do these with any of my semi-precious stones. Again, just a turquoise one. But I also do them with pebbles. And this one is kind of a combination of, let's see, this is what I would consider the front, just because it's kind of more rounded, domed at the top. And this is it's still domed on the back too, but not as much. But I've put in pebbles, and then There are some, I think that's labradorite or aquamarine. I can't remember now. It's been a while since I did this. But it's kind of a gray. You can kind of see more of a gray blue, like the sky. And then more of all this red rock, these jasper chips. And there was one that looked like a heart shape, so I left it floating up top. And then added just a little bead at the bottom. If I've left enough room here, I can drill a hole and do that. And then a beaded chain, and this one is done on bronze. So the bezel's bronze and all the wire for the beads are bronze, but it has some of the quartzite in there, and just a variety. This is actually some African opal, and then some hematite that is kind of a copper color. And that one is 72. And then I have one, let's see, I have a few more. Oh, those will be fun. Okay, so let me show you. These are hearts also, open hearts with beaded chains. And this is just another way of doing it without a bail. So just the holes are drilled right through the pendant. This was done on bronze. You can see the kind of shiny gold color. And again, that will patina to, you know, as dark as this one. You can see the difference. So it's still really pretty, but this is what it will do over time if you don't keep it polished. So this is with turquoise again. And I think on this side, it actually looks like Amazonite on this side, and then turquoise on this side. So kind of a blend. And then again with a beaded chain in lots of color so that it goes with everything. So this would be a great everyday necklace. This is actually the chain of this. I don't have mine on today, but this is actually very similar to the chain I wear every single day with everything, because it goes with everything. And this one is 65. And then I think that's it for the hearts maybe. And then the other thing that I do is, so this one is probably most similar to my everyday necklace that I wear. I'm sorry this is not being in focus. There you go. I don't know how long that's been that way. That may be bad. This one is most similar to the one I wear every day. And so but mine has a watch face on it. And so I've taken a bunch of teeny tiny little women's watch faces. The one I wear is quite a bit bigger than this. But I've taken those, made bezels again, and they're open bezels so that I can do something on the other side. So in this case, let me see if I can get this where you can see it. So it's a vintage watch set in the resin. And then the other side, I have on this one a little amber mica. Let's see, to show you what that looks like. So the pictures on Etsy may be better, but it's in the background is amber mica and then turquoise arranged in the shape of a heart on the back side. So I know this is really hard to see. And it's a smaller one, like I said. So a cute little pendant. And these I like to drop them down with one bead so that you don't end up, your necklace doesn't twist, doesn't turn, and you end up with it off center. So this just keeps your pendant centered. And then again, the chain, this is all done on bronze wire, so it's still pretty shiny because I've just recently done it and polished it. This one is done with some check glass beads in addition to the semi-precious stones, the variety in here. But this, again, is very similar to the one I wear every day because it goes with everything. And then I did another one. And this one I did a little more in jewel tones. You can kind of see I have sort of a color palette that I like to work in, very rainbow, because I want to be able to wear it with, you know, if I'm traveling or something, I don't want to take all my jewelry with me. It's nice if I can take one long necklace, one short necklace, a bracelet, some earrings, and I'm all set to go. So this is another one that I did. It is set in bronze, and it is a vintage Seiko watch. If you can see that, let's see. You can kind of still see the words. So just a watch face pendant. I didn't put any hands on this one. It's done in bronze again. And then on the reverse side are some glittery, I forgot what it was called. It's some inclusions, but it's very jewel tones and very sparkly, glittery. And I know it's not showing up on camera very well, but it's in the background, and then lots of little watch gears set on top of that. So you can kind of see that it's a little sparkly. So because that was so jewel toned and sparkly, I needed to do a chain that looked good with both sides. And this watch face has a really unique sort of color to it. It's gold, but it has some patina on it. So it has that kind of age look to it. You can see that around the edges. That's really pretty, but it kind of gave it a really weird kind of chartreusey, olivey green color. So I found some check glass beads in a really pretty color that had just kind of that antique-y, let me see if I can get this on here for you to see, kind of that antique-y color. And then some Swarovski crystals in some dark blue, and some hessonite and glass beads, and just a little variety of things that the colors just were in all of this sparkly glitter part. So that one's just really fun, and it does have a lot more sparkle to it and jewel tones than some of the other things. So there's a little of the some dark red. These are check glass beads, but they have like a garnet color and some kind of smoky quartz color, and just a different variety too that have all those kind of jewel tones. So that's kind of a different color palette for me, but I really like how that turned out. And so let's see, I think I don't know what else I want to show you today. I think that's enough for today. I think I'm not going to show you more. I do have more, but I have Tree of Life pendants if you've been watching me. I only have one on my website at the moment, or on the Etsy shop at the moment, but I do have more ready to go. I just need to finish up the necklaces. Then I also do some things with some Thai silver pendants that I didn't make, but I just love them. And then just some other different things, some more soft solder type things on different types of stones that I like to do some different designs. So I have some of those, but I'll save that for the next video. So I hope you enjoyed kind of getting a sneak peek at some of the things that I like to do other than the journal making and all of that. So thank you for watching if you stuck by, and I do promise I'm going to get back into my journal. I had made quite a few before I left, and I didn't get them listed on my Etsy shop yet, so I need to do that. So I have some journal making coming your way, as well as gel printing. I've been really wanting to do that. I actually even bought the stuff at the other studio thinking I might try to record a video there, but I don't have all my gear set up. Not that it's great here, but I'm at least able to do it. So I'm hoping to do that setup also in the other studio, and that way I can do some gel printing and some other things as well. So it's great to be back. So now I need to get back to work. So have a great rest of your day. Now go make something. Bye.